the reason why not nice things appear, or for instance evil, that's really your question, that so-called evil can appear in something which is inherently good, inherently, that is love itself. Is because in order to manifest, the manifestation can only be perceived from a localized, finite point of view. The infinite by itself cannot experience manifestation. God doesn't know creation directly. It can only do so through the localized perspective of each of our minds. But in doing so, it seems to cease being infinite consciousness, seems to become a finite mind or a separate self. That's each of us. So if we believe that we are a separate self, then we think that others are others, that others are not ourself. And that enables us to behave towards them in unloving ways. You never behave towards somebody that you consider to be yourself, in other words, somebody that you love, in unloving ways, at least not consciously. We only behave unlovingly towards people that we think are other than ourselves. In other words, people that we don't love. So that is why. So the so-called evil is always from the point of view of the individual. It's the individual who believes themselves to be an individual, rather than the universal, that behaves in ways that express the belief in being an individual, rather than the recognition of the universal. So that accounts for how evil is possible in a creation whose nature is pure love. They're not a contradiction. So I discussed it. I tried to explain this to my father like 24 times, all through my 20s and 30s. His one contention with Christianity: how is it possible for there to be an all-loving God? And look what's going on in the world. Surely these two ideas are incompatible. God is all-loving. Look at what's going on in the world. Isn't that a flagrant contradiction? But no, it's not. If you understand this, what we've just spoken of.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to understand. I didn't realize I had this question. It's just sort of we've gone into it, but I think I'm trying to understand the mechanism by which it's possible. I mean, even at a personal level, to just shine light on your experience and open it up, essentially. So, and that seems to apply at a wider level too. But is it? How can I ask this? Is it simply by standing as awareness that the light reaches the darkness in time just through the increasing power of that light? Or do we have to go and actively take that light around, if you see what I mean? It's because those are two quite different ways of looking at it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's a beautiful question. In terms of one's own inner experience, all that's necessary is to go to one's being, to go to the light, and to recognize the light of being, and to allow that light to radiate through one's entire inner experience, thoughts and feelings, and outshine the darkness that is contained in our thoughts and feelings, so that gradually our thoughts and feelings are an expression of the light rather than the darkness. But then, when we go out into the world, then we take that light with us and do whatever we do in the world, shine that light around in the world, however each of us does that in our life. So internally it's just going to one's being and allowing the light of one's being, the light of God's being, just to radiate through the entire structure of the body-mind. But then in the world, we go out with that light in our actions and our relationships. We take it into our actions and our relationships.
So then I just suppose the final thing, just to close this line off, is that at least theoretically, is it therefore possible for that light to be as complete as the source from which it comes in experience? Is that even a possibility theoretically?
I haven't understood, George. Say it again.
Well, just if there are these pockets of ignorance that cause evil in the world, and that may be the current state, but is it at least theoretically possible that with this understanding it could reach all the places which it currently isn't, even theoretically?
Could this understand, this recognition of our own being take place in all people?
And basically pervade all of experience eventually.
Could there be a society that was founded on this understanding? Why not? Yes. It seems a distant possibility now if we look at what's going on in the world. But why shouldn't it be? We live in some ways in a very dark age, an age that is a world culture that is founded on the assumption of separation. That's the all-pervading world paradigm that dominates our culture, our institutions, and so on. Just in the same way that there were older civilizations that were dominated by the idea that the earth was flat, or that the sun went round the earth. These were old paradigms that now seem absurd from our point of view. In time, hopefully, this presumption of separation upon which our world culture is founded, future generations, future societies will look back on it as the Dark Ages. They won't be able to believe the ignorance that we consider this to be normal. So yes, surely it is possible for there to be cultures, societies, for whom the understanding, the extraordinary understanding that we talk of here, is just the norm. Because it's not extraordinary. It's just extraordinary by contrast with the prevailing materialistic paradigm that dominates our world culture. But yes, George, we have to hope, I hope, that it is possible for a civilization to be founded on this understanding. How will that come about? Just by exactly what your previous beautiful question about how the light shines and shares itself, but by, first of all, individuals such as us returning again and again to the light of our being and allowing that being to radiate through the body-mind, and then each of us taking that light out into the world in whatever work or relationships we engage in, and sharing it.
Thank you.